Hi everyone, and welcome to another CX Conversations. I'm Rosie Stano, Senior Product Consultant at Candyspace.
And I'm Adam Davey, the Technology Director at Candyspace.
And today we're going to be talking about legacy tech and traditional platforms like Sitecore, and whether it's time to consider replatforming your website. So before we get into the conversation, just to set the scene a little bit, I guess we're at the point where many businesses are thinking ahead to 2025, and you might be assessing things like your website strategy, what's working for you, are there any areas of improvement, or perhaps any potential areas for growth? And I guess there is a bit of a question mark around whether or not to replatform, or if possible, stay on the same CMS and potentially upgrade. And I think it's particularly applicable to a lot of businesses who are on either legacy and unsupported platforms like Sitecore 9 and XP, Drupal 7, which reaches end of life in January. Maybe businesses who are on an on-prem solution and are considering a move to a SaaS cloud-based solution, or perhaps those businesses who are kind of taking a bit of a step back and thinking, why don't we take a completely different approach to our tech stack, maybe move to headless or composable CMS. So I guess with that in mind, Adam, what do you think are the risks for businesses staying on legacy or unsupported tech from a performance and security perspective?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, and these reasons often stack up, and they are very, very much dependent on the stack in question and the business and the, and their set of users in question as well. So I would say they vary from business to business, but from a kind of performance and technical risk, really, we're looking at things like system performance. So how fast pages load. If that's poor, that we know absolutely for a fact that pages that load in 2 seconds or more, you get something like a 50% drop-off rate approximately, and that's on mobile as well. So that degrading of site speed has a massive impact on user engagement. Things like increasing server resource usage, all of that can be costly. Caching not working properly. And the other thing is not just performance in the hands of users. There's sort of the ability of those platforms to allow you to iterate on your digital product. So being able to implement new features, that might be something that slows you down. The ability of the system to extend the extensibility of these different systems. How up to date and modern are the APIs? What are the feature sets being offered? All of those things really lead you further down the line to making a decision, a clearer inflection point as to whether to replatform or stay on the technology system or solutions that you have. In terms of scalability, how well does your current system scale to heavy traffic load spikes if you're getting performance issues, user complaints, or if your scaling is incredibly costly? That's another thing. Are your databases modern? Are they performance bottlenecking? Are there any storage limitations? All of these things need to be kind of considered in the round, really, just in terms of really just kind of, we always advise going through some kind of consultation process around this, because the decision is never that binary. But, there are a whole load of factors that really, Rosie, that influence exactly that. The performance and the technical risks around being on unsupported stacks is actually, it's a real challenge. It's something that lots and lots of businesses are facing.
Yeah, excellent. All really good points there. And I think, as you were saying, what your current frustrations and pain points are, but also anticipating your future business needs and having that kind of future ready tech stack that's performant and, as you said, scalable, extensible, and kind of ready to support future business growth. Curious to know, how do you see this affecting businesses from an operational perspective?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if you've got systems that are outdated and that are hard to update, or have security flaws, for example, there could be real challenges to things like compliance. If you've got outdated security protocols, weak authentication methods, all of a sudden that becomes a real problem in terms of your own compliance as a business. So being able to meet your GDPR, CCPA requirements, all of that is really important. There could be a whole load of data and privacy limitations that you need to consider. But aside from the security side of things, there could be a whole load of operational costs that come in. So just your increased maintenance costs, your hosting expenses, the time that it takes to actually emergency fix problems as well, that's actually a real factor. Support problems, increasing costs around that. It's really, you want a platform that allows you and liberates you and your team to actually focus on delivering great customer experience. And all of those things around security and scaling and performance are things that really we should be freed up from to allow us to do, ultimately, to focus on the CX that we want to deliver to for our business and our customers. I mean, it's that simple. Do we want to be feeding and watering our tech systems, or do we want to be building out the next generation of customer experience? I know what I would rather us and our clients want to do, so it's quite clear for me. But lots of businesses are stuck in this world of having to do that, and that's a process we often help people with.
Absolutely, that's great. And yeah, interesting to kind of cover those technical issues that we're facing, and kind of how that's limiting us from creating that customer experience that we should be focusing on. But I'm also interested to think more from like a business growth perspective. How does dated legacy technologies hold us back from achieving business growth?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, older stacks are more limiting around your ability to innovate and move quickly. So that kind of, being able to deliver the latest and greatest in terms of features and capabilities, your ability to extend the platform, augment the platform, all of those things will be limited and will impact business growth. So, whether you've got limited upgrade paths or architectural constraints or CMS management risks, whatever those things might be, what often gets forgotten in this process is the people that use the systems, right? So, if you've got inefficient content workflows, or your content modeling hasn't been set up correctly, all of these things are over time cause lots and lots of pain. Things like the editing experience, it might seem trivial, but it's not, and it can affect your ability to actually operate internally. Having those content workflows that are out of date, your content modeling not being set up correctly, your asset management, all of these things are really, really important. In order to be able to deliver like really, really strong experiences in the hands of your customers. Yeah, ultimately, at the end of the day, this is about being able to innovate at speed, at scale, deliver great customer experience, deliver great technical capability, and really stay in step with the needs and demands of your business and the customers. So ultimately, yeah, if you aren't able to iterate, if you aren't able to be nimble technically, this will hamper your ability to grow, adapt, and evolve in this sort of ever-changing world we're in. And you just, ultimately working with these legacy stacks, systems that are out of date, are going to hamper you and your business ability over time. So for me, it's a whole load of different things that influence it. But yeah, it all comes down ultimately to your ability to innovate at speed and iterate and really measure, learn, and grow from the experiences you're delivering. So over time.
Absolutely. And I guess we talk a lot about Candyspace around technology as being, an enabler for growth and for transformation, and kind of providing that stable foundations that you need to be able to do all the exciting things like personalization, experimentation, or whatever. And so I guess a lot of businesses, it's probably fair to say, that have legacy tech in place, maybe technical debt, they're fighting fires in areas, just for BAU day-to-day things. They're not able to do all of those wonderful customer experience optimizations, that you speak about.
Absolutely. I mean, we want to be shipping features. We want to be shipping things that are used by people and are delivering value to people, rather than refactoring code or doing updates. That's what it's about. It's about being able to get stuff out, get stuff live, see how it's performing, and iterate from there. That is ultimately, that's what it comes back to. And as I said before, it's like being able to innovate rapidly and move rapidly. If anything's stopping you from doing that, that will directly hamper your growth.
Absolutely. And I guess, with that in mind, one of the platforms we've given particular focus to today is Sitecore. I'm curious to know, what are the current frustrations and limitations that you're seeing businesses on Sitecore experience at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, to us, it looks like Sitecore has been having quite a bad time in the market for a while. Optimisely has been moving up steadily through the analysts' metrics. So, you know, in Forrester Wave and the Magic Quadrant, it's quite stark to see that progress through those different analyst charts, but also to see how Sitecore has probably descended a little bit. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Optimisely has been consistently recognized for, you know, ease of use, scalable pricing, the fact that they've got this really wide, broad product suite that's really nicely integrated together, is something that's consistently called out. So, you know, at the end of the day, Sitecore comes with a number of challenges, and these are things that come back from customers. These are things that we have observed through talking to businesses. You know, things like, you know, there's an international development bank that we've spoken to. So they talked about Sitecore as being overkill, too many moving parts. So, you know, that developer experience is really important. We talk about customer experience, but actually developers need to be able to use, maintain, update, and iterate on these platforms. If that's difficult, that's going to cause challenges, right? Yeah, and there's other customers like a UK manufacturer of products that we can't really call out right now. They're a construction industry manufacturer. You know, they eliminated Sitecore due to their lack of self-service and autonomy and poor responsiveness. There's various others, different examples here. There's a healthcare automation and medication management platform. They talked about the price being really high, you know, and the volume of developers that are needed to keep this system updated. Others, there's a manufacturer in the US who manufacture exterior building products. They came back with a whole load of negative views of Sitecore, and actually talked about the cost being really high. You know, at the end of the day, lots of these systems do come with a cost, but whether that cost is warranted is another thing. It's not just the cost, it's the sunk cost into keeping these systems up to date. So I would say there are systems out there that are likely to provide businesses with more. So yeah, there are challenges at the moment we're seeing with Sitecore, but these are just challenges that we're hearing again and again. So it's worth being aware of.
That's good to know, and quite a wide range of businesses. And I guess you want to know that you're backing the right horse. You know, it's a big investment, kind of keeping up your tech stack and getting it performing as you need it to for your business and your customers. And yeah, you need to know that you're investing in technologies that are going to be performant and future proofed. And I guess, you know, if you have been on Sitecore, that is more of a traditional so-called monolithic .NET platform, and you've either decided that you don't want to upgrade, you know, an obvious and good choice, as you say, would be to consider replatforming to a more performant .NET platform like Optimisely. I guess also probably there's some businesses out there who might want to use this opportunity to completely reevaluate their tech stack, potentially consider migrating to a headless platform like Contentful or Storyblock, or even headless Optimisely. I guess there's lots of different options, and I can imagine it can be quite hard to see the wood for the trees for a lot of businesses. I know that's something, like you said, that, you know, a challenge that we see a lot of clients come to us, you know, on a daily basis. I guess, Adam, you know, from your perspective, I'm interested to understand, what would you recommend as first steps for businesses looking to replatform to a new CMS and evaluating the various options in the market?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very important process and set of steps that we are all constantly helping businesses make, because there are many things that need factoring in. And at the beginning of this whole process, it's super key that before any code is written, it's super important that we sit down and really land exactly on what the vision is for the product that we're looking to build, right? What are the pain points the business is currently having? And what is the technical vision and technical end state that we're hoping to aim for? All of these things require not only, you know, extensive audits and investigation into understanding what the current scenario and setup is, but also input from the stakeholders. That's really important. So that's sort of foundational work, just to really set the scene and create the North Star for wherever it is we're aiming, is really important. We cannot get into writing code until we figured out what it is we're trying to build and solve for, like what business and customer challenges are we solving for, what are those metrics, what are those KPIs, and really getting that feedback and bringing the business, because actually if you think about it, lots of these businesses, there are lots of strong important voices within these businesses throughout the organization, so making sure we're accommodating for all those needs and use cases, so bringing the business along on that journey with the right input from the stakeholders. There's a whole load of research that needs to be done, looking at things like Gartner, doing platform evaluations, where we are technology agnostic here at Candyspace, but doing that real agnostic deep dive into what the requirements are, looking at doing evaluations. We love doing demos as well. That's really important, is to be able to actually see these products and how they work. It's all very well talking about them. And then, you know, businesses need to go through a process of evaluating who they work with, be that us or whoever that might be. That's something we often see, you know, from a kind of technical perspective, looking at the architecture, doing a kind of looking at how the content's structured, looking at things like ROI modeling. That's really important, and just really defining what the kind of model for delivery is and what the success metrics would be on the project. So that's kind of all that implementation platform planning that would have to take place at the beginning. Like I say, all of that is foundational work that we set up, and we usually define super early in a project, before we even get going on like discovery work, for example. But without that work, you know, we aren't able to proceed in a clear way. What we need is clarity around how to move forward with confidence, and give, you know, the businesses that we work with a really clear idea of feature set, deliverables, timeline, cost, all of that, so we know where we're heading.
Absolutely. Those are really, really useful next steps. And I would definitely second what you said around consulting those analyst reports, like your Gartner Magic Quadrant, Forrester Wave, speaking to the agency partner, preferably one who is agnostic as we can be. You can kind of evaluate all those different CMSs in the market and kind of what's best for your specific business and your use cases and needs. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Adam. And thank you everyone for tuning into another CX Conversations. You can probably tell we have lots and lots to say on this topic. If you are interested to hear more, we'll link out to some of our articles that explore replatforming more broadly. And we do have an upcoming webinar that Adam will be joining us for, where we'll be taking a deeper dive into whether you should optimize or overhaul your website. And yeah, hope to see you there.